Today News Update.
This is your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Monday, June 27th. So glad you can join us. There are no tropical storm watches or warnings in effect for Barbados. That's according to the Barbados Meteorological Services, following investigations by the Hurricane Hunter, which did not find a closed center associated with potential tropical cyclone number 2. At 5 p.m., the system, which continued to track westward near 19 miles per hour, remained disorganized about 665 miles east-southeast of Barbados. The BMS said conditions appeared favorable for further slow development, and a tropical depression could form during the next few days as the center tracks well south of Barbados. Regardless of development, the BMS is urging the public to be ready and remain on alert. Here's meteorologist Tia Brown.
We're expecting the system to affect us from at least tomorrow afternoon and peak into tomorrow night. We can expect some occasional moderate to heavy showers. There's a possibility that you may get some gusty winds as well. Right now the projections are between 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. We also have the small craft advisory, which remains in effect for above normal sea swells. We're expecting swells between 2.5 to 3 meters, so we're looking at rough sea conditions. So those are the general conditions we can expect from tomorrow.
The time for Barbados and other small island developing states to create sustainable and resilient tourist destinations is now. That's the view of Barbados' Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary with Responsibility for Climate Change, SIDS and Law of the Sea, Elizabeth Thompson, who pointed to the impact of external shocks such as climate change. Addressing the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc. second Visit Barbados Stakeholder Forum at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center today, she said countries like Barbados had exhausted the luxury of time.
What is clear is that the imperative of sustainability and resilience of the tourism factor demand expeditious and in-depth study and action by tourism authorities. By virtue of our vulnerabilities, small island developing states such as Barbados have exhausted the luxury of time to undertake lengthy philosophical contemplations of what remedial or adaptive actions can be taken to counter climate impacts. We must now take action. We in the Caribbean, and indeed in CARICOM, are already too far behind in dealing with this phenomenon that is quite literally a matter of lives and livelihoods for us in this region.
The Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc. will within the next few months launch the Barbados Experiences Collection. Word of this from the BTMI's Chief Executive Officer, who said that the initiative is aimed at making Barbados an all-season destination. He made the announcement this morning during the second Visit to Barbados Stakeholder Forum held at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center.
The Bajan Experiences Collection is a curation of small businesses and social enterprises in 5 categories: stay, taste, do, shop, and tour. And collectively, these experiences represent the heart of the Bajan culture. Because we need to realize and remember that the Bajan culture is actually the brand of Barbados. The brand of Barbados or Destination Barbados is not a logo or a tagline or a color. It is what collectively this island stands for, the essence, what it means to be Bajan, and what these experiences collectively bring to the world. So this inclusivity concept really goes deep down, in really making sure that all levels of the tourism value chain is included and engaged.
The BTMI's CEO says the concept goes beyond tourism.
We collectively are able to create the first destination super brand, to go beyond tourism, to have people be part of something bigger and drive a sense of belonging. So this creates purpose and will drive a balanced agenda to be brilliant on the consumer side. On the business side, a Be Bajan label for both businesses and professionals can change mindsets, builds capacity, and improve service delivery. And by implementing a Bajan pledge for both travelers but also for citizens and residents, drives this consciousness to drive sustainability. Other destinations have done it, like Palau, but we're looking to bring this to another level to make sure that people don't visit just visiting Barbados, but they're joining a community of like-minded people of what it means to being Bajan.
The National Cultural Foundation has welcomed the ease in COVID-19 restrictions. Over the weekend, the Minister of Health and Wellness, Ian Godinegil, announced that mandatory COVID-19 testing and vaccinations for entry into crop over events and other gatherings were no longer required. However, the mask mandate for indoor events and physical distancing of at least 3 feet remain in effect. Chief Executive Officer of the NCF, Carol Roberts-Riffer, tells Barbados Today the development now requires an individual response.
And I would want to publicly commit to continuing to consult with and be guided by the Ministry of Health, because while the protocols have been greatly relaxed, the pandemic is still very much a part of our lives, not just in Barbados, but globally. And we continue to be guided and advised by the Ministry of Health, Chief Medical Officer, and the COVID Monitoring Unit. And it now requires a different kind of response. It requires an individual response where, as we go about our business, whether we're jumping in a band or we're going to a fete or we're just going to work as usual, that we are even more mindful of our responsibility as individuals to take care of ourselves, because by doing that, by being cautious, by still sanitizing, doing all of those things, that we not only keep ourselves safe, but our loved ones as well.
Regional and international news coming up after this short break.
Pure oxygen is way more than just water. We infuse pristine water with over 1 billion tiny oxygen bubbles using our state-of-the-art process. The benefits of additional oxygen are huge, from strengthening your immune system to increasing energy levels, stamina, and sports performance. And that's not all. It also improves skin health, helps you sleep better, and reduces stress. Join the movement of people experiencing the benefits of pure oxygen. It's not hype, it's science.
Regional news now. Health authorities in St. Lucia increased surveillance for monkeypox after being alerted that a crew member on a flight to the island had since tested positive for the virus. However, officials say the individual did not disembark from the aircraft when it arrived. A statement issued on Monday by the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elder Affairs disclosed that the Epidemiology Department was alerted of the situation by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. It said the required contact tracing process is currently being undertaken. And finally, on the international scene, a forensic team has been going through the site at a tavern in the South African city of East London, where 21 teenagers died in unexplained circumstances. More from this Reuters TV report.
South African authorities say 21 teenagers found dead at an East Coast tavern over the weekend were probably killed by something they ate, drank, or smoked. The as-yet unexplained deaths in the city of East London have shocked the nation and brought an outpouring of grief. Some of the deceased were celebrating end-of-school exams, others a birthday party. The youngest, according to police, was a 13-year-old girl. Outside a prayer service, Yandiswa Nkoza, aunt to one of the teenagers, said her family is heartbroken.
We lost one of our family member, a child who was doing grade 12 this year. We can't accept it. We are one of the poorest families. And as we are standing here right now, we need justice because we don't know what happened.
Initial media reports had suggested a crush was a possible cause of the deaths, but Unati Binkose, spokesperson for the Eastern Cape's Provincial Community Safety Department, said this had been ruled out completely.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.